I just finished a masterpiece. I just read Batman The Long Halloween by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale for the first time in compact comics format, if that is relevant information. And the shocking thing is, this is part of the Bat Catalogue series, right, where I read through all of my old Eagle Moss Batman collection. This was not included. This was missing. They have Haunted Night and they have Dark Victory, but they did not include The Long Halloween for some reason, although I do now have my suspicions. So I decided to go out of my way to pick up The Long Halloween so that I could include it here in this reading list. The Long Halloween is about a series of murders that take place on every holiday over the course of not entirely a year, but about a year. And it sees Batman, Jim Gordon, and Harvey Dent working together to try and figure out who it is and how to stop it. It is a good old whodunit, it is a good old murder mystery, and the art is gorgeous, by the way. It's just so good. And there were so many times when I flipped to a page and just gasped. It's just, Tim Sale's art is fantastic. It's so moody, so grungy. I feel like the Christopher Nolan Batman movies may have taken their cue specifically from the look of this book. And yeah, it's an early Batman story. It's not so early that he's treated like an absolute novice like he has been in some of the previous Bat Catalogue stories we've read so far. You know, by this point he is a known quantity in Gotham, and his rogues gallery has expanded to a point where we see the Joker, who I thought was going to be kind of like introduced quote unquote for the first time in this story, but he wasn't. I don't know where I got that from. Maybe that takes place in another story. But this mostly focuses on the origins of Harvey Dent becoming Two-Face over the course of this investigation, and they're trying to figure out who the holiday killer is. And Jeff Loeb takes the time to be like, here's the calendar man, he's locked up in Arkham Asylum, it's probably not him. You don't have to give that too much thought. I'm going to keep showing you him being locked up. We're going to keep mentioning that it's probably not him. I'm not going to say it's definitely not him because it's a murder mystery, and if I say it's definitely not him, you're going to assume it is him. But I don't want to make it be Calendar Man. I want it to be something more interesting. So yeah, this is an early Batman story, and like I said, it's not so early that people don't know who he is or that he's still figuring out his mission and so on and so forth, but it is early enough that some of the villains in Gotham City are still the old crime families, the Falcones and the Carmines. And this story primarily takes place around those two families because the Falcones are the ones who keep getting murdered by this mysterious holiday killer. And what's interesting is that this is happening shortly after Batman, Jim Gordon and Harvey Dent kind of made a pact to sort out the whole Falcone situation in a way that might bend the law a little bit, but not necessarily morals. We see that Harvey Dent especially is working around the clock to try and tackle this problem of organised crime within Gotham. And the thing I like about this book as well is that while it, revolves around the origins of Two-Face and the main antagonist is this mysterious holiday killer, but also the Carmines and the Falcones, we do take the opportunity to kind of have this revolving door of Batman's rogues gallery. We see Joker, we see Poison Ivy, we see Penguin. Wait, do we see Penguin? I don't think we see Penguin. No, I'm thinking of Haunted Night. We do not see Penguin, but we do see Solomon Grundy, born on a Monday. We see Scarecrow and the Mad Hatter working in tandem. And it's so fun how Jeff Loeb kind of weaves these villains in and out of the narrative in ways which make sense. They never feel extraneous. They never feel like they're not supposed to be there. They all kind of have a reason to be part of a story, but at the same time, it's an opportunity for Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale to have their take on each villain. What it really ends up doing is showing how grand and interconnected Gotham City is in terms of its big players and their movements. We also see Catwoman, and we do see Selina Kyle as well interacting with Bruce in this book a lot. It becomes very obvious very early on that she knows that Bruce is Batman, but that Bruce hasn't realised that she's figured that out. Like, she literally scratches his cheek, and then afterwards when she sees him as Bruce Wayne, she's like, cut yourself shaving, did you? Except, I think the fact that she scratches him in the first place shows that she was already suspicious at the very least of his secret identity. And Catwoman acts as kind of an ally and then later on as a bit of a villain in this book. Like, she shows up alongside all of the other villains in Falcone's office, and, Batman's like, what side are you on? And it's never really revealed why she's sticking around Falcone so much. But if I know my Batman lore, I think there is a reason. It's just interesting that they don't give it away in this story. It makes me wonder if this is going to be continued into Dark Victory. But yeah, we do see the kind of beginning of Bruce Wayne and Selina Kyle's relationship in this book, if you can really call it a beginning. They're very off and on, I know. I think it's only, from what I've heard, in the Rebirth era of Batman that we really take a stab at them being a more permanent thing, even though I don't think it actually ended up being permanent, but you know, whatever. It was fun reading Haunted Knight first and having that story at the beginning about how Bruce is wondering if it's finally time to let someone else in and start having a relationship, and now in this book seeing him kind of embrace that with Selina Kyle just a little bit, just a taste. But I'm going to start talking about the answer to the mystery now, and some of the answers we're given and where they actually end up being true or not. So I'm now going to start talking spoilers. If you've not read The Long Halloween, seriously, don't let me spoil it for you here. Go and read it, because there's not too many things in comics that can make my jaw drop, because so much of comic lore is just kind of like told, you know, spoilers are pretty light in terms of when people talk about comics as opposed to talking about novels and stuff. Like, we're happy to kind of know things ahead of time and then see how those things unfold for ourselves, broadly speaking. But I feel like this is definitely a mystery which is better left read within the source material. So if you haven't read it, thanks for checking out this video. Go and check it out for yourself, because it's a great read. But I will now be talking spoilers. Towards the latter pages of the book, we learn that the Holiday Killer is none other than Falcone's son himself, the one who we assumed had been killed by the Holiday Killer. But I was pretty sus of him for a while, because he very much was the neglected son. Every time he spoke up to kind of like give his ideas and thoughts on what should be done, his father always talked over him and was like, please, the grown-ups are talking. And immediately I can kind of understand how that resentment would build in you, right? So I was very suspicious of him being the Holiday Killer, and then he ends up not being dead, and he claims to be the Holiday Killer, and I believed him. I was like, yeah, that makes sense for his character, that makes sense for his motivations. But then at the end of the book, we learn that he was not the Holiday Killer. I don't think he did any holiday killings. He just confessed to each and every single crime and got sent to be executed for them, because he just wanted to be someone, I think. Like, this makes even more sense for his character that he would lie about this, and that is so tragic. And actually, it turns out that originally the holiday killings were started by Harvey Dent's wife, which I did not see coming. Very good, because she was worried about the toll that organized crime was taking on her husband, and I guess her love life, quite a bit more selfishly. Like, she kind of just wanted to kill these dudes off so that she could get more time with her husband. But I kind of choose to interpret it more as she was worried about the mental toll it was taking on him. And then, of course, shortly after Alberto Falcone gets done in, but not really, it's said that Harvey Dent is the one who then takes up, the mantle of the Holiday Killer. And I think it's implied that he didn't know that his wife was doing it previously, but that is when he starts becoming the Holiday Killer. And I think that's because his mental state is deteriorating, as we can see throughout the pages of the book. He's under suspicion from his friends that he might be the Holiday Killer, and what does that do to a person? He's already stated previously, like, the first guy who got killed, Harvey Dent says couldn't happen to a nicer guy, and Jim is shocked. He's like, no, that's not how we think about these things, that's not how we approach these things, that's not what we're doing here. And I love at the end when Harvey Dent kills that man who threw acid in his face and turned him into Two-Face, and says, 2 shots to the head couldn't happen to a nicer man. The first time, it wasn't him, but this time it was, and it just goes to show the full circle of that character arc, and it's absolutely masterful. Like, yes, maybe these were dark desires that Harvey Dent had at the beginning of the book, but they're not the ones that he would ever have acted on. But by the time we come to the end of the book, we see that he's in such a dark place that he is now more than happy to execute a mofo. But yeah, honestly, this is such a good book. I kind of want to reread it already. I ripped through this. I left myself so much time to read this, because it's one of the chunkier compact comics out there, and I wanted to make sure that I had enough time, so I actually I read Daredevil Born Again, and I scheduled that for like a week ahead of time because I was already ahead on reviews, and then this is coming out a week after that. So we're quite far ahead on reviews, but I did not need to do the scheduling. I did not need to give myself all of this time. I will continue to keep it up because there are some portions of a back catalogue which I can foresee taking a fair bit longer. Like, we've got 3 volumes of Neil Adams comics, which are like, I think Silver Age comics, maybe Golden Age, and they're going to be a bit wordier, they're going to take longer to get through, and I can't see them holding my attention quite as well, and I will want to do them all in one video, although I am still looking forward to reading those, because I did read Volume 1 when I first got it, and it's we're going to have a lot to talk about. It's very fun. So yeah, I will continue to have this buffer. I'm going to try and keep these reviews weekly, but yeah, I'm so glad that I ended up picking up The Long Halloween by itself. So yeah, obviously there are many different ways of collecting The Long Halloween. There's probably trade paperbacks, there's probably an omnibus. In fact, I know there's an omnibus, there's probably an absolute edition, learning about those. But I've got the compact comics thing. And I really like compact comics when they're nice and big and chunky. And this one is nice and big and chunky. I love me a chunky book. It's just nice to have and to hold and to open up and to see the artwork within. I don't know what, like, look at that. Look at that. That's a bit spicy. We better not linger on that. YouTube might not like that. Here's another thing. Whenever the murders happen, they occur in like this black and white style. So whenever you like, it's got a really striking effect because like whenever you turn the page over, you've got these striking purples and oranges. And when you turn the page over and you're like, oh, murder's happening, you just immediately know that a murder is happening. It's so cool. But yeah, there are so many just pages of wonderful art. Like, it's so good. It's so good. I'm just gonna gush. As for my theory as to why this was not collected as an Eagle Moss edition in the Legend of Batman, I always get confused if it's the Legend or the Legacy. It's the Legend. I realized that this is a limited series. This is not part of Legends of the Dark Knight. It's not part of Detective Comics. It's not part of Batman. It is its own standalone limited series. And I don't know if Eagle Moss had, you know, specific like rules about including those sorts of things, or if there's like different legal things about licensing those, maybe, or maybe it's because Dark Victory, in fact, let me just go have a look. Oh, never mind. Dark Victory is also a limited series, so what do I know? It does look like it's going to be our first time seeing Robin in our continuity or chronology of how we're reading things, and it does look like we're going to be seeing more Two-Face, so I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, this is coming up next on the back catalogue. It is the finale of Jeff Loeb, Tim Sale, because we started with Haunted Night, don't forget. And yeah, very, very, very happy. Also, I just read the blurb of Dark Victory, and damn, that sounds like it's a direct sequel to The Long Halloween, so that's exciting. So subscribe to the channel if you want to see that review pop up in your subscription feed when I've read it. I think I'm just going to barrel ahead and keep reading right now. I'm going to read Dark Victory. But yeah, you're gonna have to wait, sorry. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. And I'll get to directly compare and contrast the compact comics way of reading with the, you know, Eagle Moss hardback way of reading, I suppose. Although I've already done that with Haunted Night. So they're both good. Spoiler, they're both good. Anyway, subscribe. Bye.